everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a pop-up window, and I'm going to be doing this by building upon a previous video I've done where I've used a menu. So here I'm going to be clicking on the menu and adding a new pop-up. The video for the menu tutorial can be shown in the top right hand corner. The pop-up window I'm going to be showing you is for adding a new contact. So we'll be able to add a first name, for example, a second name, a mobile number, and an email address. We'll have two buttons where we'll be able to save the contact, or we can close the dialog window. So just to recap, I've got an active menu which I've called First Menu. In my main activity, I've got an On Create Options menu where I've got an On Options item selected, where each of my items can be individually selected depending on the ID. So for example, I've got an if statement which says if I select menu 1, it will currently show a toast which says hello menu 1. If I select menu 2, it will currently show a toast saying hello menu 2. To start building our dialog window, we go to the top of the activity main and we put in the following. We need a private alert dialog.builder, and we're going to call this dialog builder. Next, say private again. We need alert dialog. We're going to call this dialog. As I've shown you in our preview, we're going to have a number of edit texts. So we just need to put in all of our edit text now. So I'm going to call these new contact pop-up, and it's going to be the first name, the last name, the mobile number, and the email address. After this, we've got two buttons we need to put in. This is going to be the Save button and the Cancel button. Okay, so to start building our pop-up, we just need to go down to below our menus option. We need to create a new class. So we're going to call this public void create new contact dialog. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that everything is inflated. So we go dialog builder equals new alert dialog builder, and the context is this. We want to set the view, so the view which we're going to be creating is going to be the pop-up itself. So we'll call this contact pop-up. And here, this is where we're going to inflate our view. So we say equals get layout inflator. We want to inflate, and we're going to inflate our pop-up. So we need to go r.layout, and then we're going to call it pop-up. Now obviously this is going to be red at the moment because we haven't created our Popup XML, but what we can do is we can do that right now. So to do that, we just go on to our layout folder, we right click, go new, and new resource file. And we need to give it the same name, so pop-up, and we press OK. I'm going to split the view so we can see the text and the preview. And we see in the main activity that the pop-up is now no longer red. So let's go and put in all of our edit texts and our buttons into the Popup XML. So to start with, we're just going to change the orientation or make sure that it is vertical. And now we're going to be putting in all of the widgets we need for our pop-up. So the first thing we want to put in is an image view. I'm going to make this approximately a square of 150 dp. You can see it's coming up on our preview, but it's in the top left-hand corner. Next, we can perhaps put in an ID, and we can call this new list icon. Next, we can constrain the layout, so we can pull the right-hand side to the right-hand side, the left to the left, the bottom to the bottom of the screen, and then the top to the top. And then we can actually physically move the icon where we want it to be in our pop-up. Next, we actually want an image. So to do this, I'm just going to right-click on our drawables and go to Vector Assets, where I'm going to find a picture of a face which we can use to represent our image view. Of course, you can use any image you find which is a PGN from the internet or from something you have saved on your computer, as long as you just save it to your drawables, as I'm saving this vector image to the drawables. To actually link the picture to the image view, we just need to go background and then find it in our drawables folder. Next, we'll move on to our edit texts. I'm going to match the parent for the width and do wrap content for the height. I'm going to give it an ID, so I'm going to call this new contact pop-up. This is going to be for the first name. I'm going to move it below the image view, and I'm going to link it to the top, or to the bottom I should say, of the image view. The line of text here constrained top to bottom, that's basically defining that it's going to be below the ID which we define, and I'm going to put a top margin of 20 dp. Next, I'm going to define the text size, where here I'm going to set this to 24 SP. Remember to use SP and not DP. Once that's done, we can copy and paste the entire edit text to bring about our other edit texts. The only thing we need to do is change the ID, so this is going to be for our last name, and we need to make sure that it is below the first name. As so, and you can see on the previous slide that is moved below the first name. Next, we want to do the same thing but for our mobile number. So we're going to change the ID to mobile, and we're going to move the edit text so it's below the last name. Lastly, we have, I'll just move this so everyone can see. Lastly, we have the email address. So I'm going to change the ID, and I'm going to make sure that it is below the mobile number. So that's all looking pretty good. Next, we'll add the buttons in. So we've got two buttons. So we'll do wrap content for the height and the width, and we'll put in an ID. It's currently in the top left-hand corner of our screen, so we want to move it below the email address edit text, as so. I'm also going to keep the top margin the same. However, we can move our buttons using the preview window, and we can constrain the layouts to each side as so. Once you're happy with the position of your button, we simply copy and paste so we can get the cancel button. We change the ID from save to cancel, and then in the preview window we physically move the button to the opposite side of the screen. Now everything's looking pretty good, but one thing we are missing is the hints to what each of the edit texts is going to be used for. So if we go back to our first name, edit text, we can put in a hint. Here I'm just going to use this as a string where I'm going to put in first name. So the user will know to enter their first name into the first edit text box. We also want the text to be central. We also want the text to be in the center. We also can set the gravity to center horizontal. All we need to do now is just copy and paste those hints to the other edit texts, changing each hint as we go along. Perfect, that is our Popup XML almost finished. The only thing we need to do is for our buttons to add in some text. This is going to be called save, and the button below is going to be called cancel. That is our pop-up window complete. All we need to do now is go to our main activity and complete the class. So what we need to do is substantiate each of the edit texts and each of the buttons. So here we find the ID, so it's new contact pop-up first name, and we go contact pop-up view, find view by ID, r.id. And we do these for each of our edit texts, so that includes the last name. Next we've got the mobile number. Lastly, we've got our new contact pop-up email. This is the last edit text which we're going to instantiate. Find view by ID, r.id, and then we find it from our list. Next we have the two buttons, and this is the save button and the cancel button. So what we'll do next is we'll make sure that the dialog builder actually comes into play once we activate this class. So we go dialog builder set view, and we're going to set the view to the contact pop-up view. So the dialog equals dialog builder dot create dialog dot show. The last thing we want to do is just make sure that our buttons are responsive, so we can go new contact pop-up save dot set on click listener, new on click listener, and within the curly brackets here, this is where we define our save button. All we need to do now is do the same thing for our cancel button. So that's new pop-up, new contact pop-up cancel, set on click listener, new on click listener, and this is where we can define our cancel button. What I can show you to do here is if we press the cancel button, the dialog will be dismissed. If you're interested in learning how to actually save contacts or information, I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel about SQLite databases. The last thing we need to do is copy and paste the create new contact dialog to the menu 2 button, and then we press run. Okay, so it's worked. We press the menu, go to new contact, and the dialog button pops up. Then we press cancel to delete the window. I hope you guys found this interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.